At first, all you see is the final meal. Thousands of frozen Korean lunch trays move under bright factory lights. Rice sits in one corner, stir-fried vegetables in another. Sliced chicken is coated in glossy red sauce. Every tray looks almost handmade, but the line never stops. Steam rises on one side of the factory. Freezing mist rolls across another, and every few seconds, another complete meal is sealed, checked, and sent forward. But this finished tray did not begin here. It began much earlier, before the sauce, before the rice, before the perfect portions. It began with raw ingredients entering a clean Korean food factory, where everything must be washed, cut, cooked, cooled, frozen, and packed with quiet precision. The first real transformation happens with cleaning. In a frozen meal factory, raw ingredients cannot move forward until every surface is controlled. Vegetables are washed again and again. Water shakes away soil and loose leaves. Rice is sifted to remove dust and broken grains. Chicken is kept cold, inspected by hand, and moved quickly through the chilled line. Nothing looks dramatic yet, but this stage decides the quality of the whole meal. A small mistake here would travel through every later step. So the factory slows down where it matters. Workers watch texture, size, color, and shape. Machines do the repeated work, but human eyes still catch what machines can miss. Now the factory begins to change the ingredients. Vegetables are no longer whole. They become thin strips, small cubes, and even pieces made for one bite. The rice moves toward large cookers, where heat and water turn hard grains into soft white rice. The chicken enters the cutting and marinating line. At the same time, the sauce is mixed in huge stainless steel tanks. Red pepper paste, garlic, soy sauce, and broth slowly become one thick coating. This is where the meal starts to form its identity. The factory is not just preparing food. It is building flavor in separate parts, so every tray tastes the same when it reaches a customer. The middle of the factory is the loudest part, but it still feels controlled. Rice cools in thin layers, so it will not become sticky inside the package. Vegetables are stir-fried quickly, just enough to keep color and texture. Chicken is cooked in sauce until the outside becomes glossy and dark red. Every ingredient has its own timing. Too long, and the rice dries out. Too short, and the chicken will not hold the sauce. This is why the production line is built like a clock. Each part moves forward only when it is ready. And slowly, the raw ingredients become separate cooked components waiting to become one meal.
They move under portioning machines. First comes rice, then vegetables, then chicken. A final layer of sauce adds shine and color. The speed is surprising, but the movement is not messy.
Now the factory reaches the part that looks almost impossible. Empty trays arrive in long rows. They move under portioning machines, one after another. First comes rice. Each tray receives the same soft mound, pressed gently into place. Then vegetables fall into their own compartment. Then chicken. Then a final layer of sauce adds shine and color. The speed is surprising, but the movement is not messy. Each tray stops for only a moment. A nozzle drops, a scoop opens, a portion lands, and the tray moves on. This is the moment where many separate processes become one finished Korean meal.
Before these meals can be sealed, they must pass through cold. The goal is to freeze it fast, while the rice still holds shape and the sauce still looks fresh.
Before these meals can be sealed, they must pass through cold. The goal is not just to make the food frozen. The goal is to freeze it fast, while the rice still holds shape and the sauce still looks fresh. Inside the tunnel, cold air moves around every tray. Steam disappears. Glossy sauce becomes firm. Vegetables stop cooking at the right moment. This is one of the most important stages in the whole factory. Slow freezing can damage texture. Fast freezing protects it. The meal becomes stable, portion by portion, until each tray is cold enough to move into final packaging. Now the frozen meals are ready to be protected. A clear film lowers over each tray. Heat seals the edges in a clean line. The package must hold air out and keep the meal safe during storage and transport. After sealing, the trays pass through inspection. Some are checked by weight, some pass under scanners. Others are examined by workers who look for broken trays, weak seals, or uneven portions. Then the meals slide into outer sleeves and boxes. The food has already been cooked, portioned, and frozen. But until the package is sealed correctly, the factory does not consider the meal finished.
The finished frozen meals are stacked, counted, and moved into cold storage. And when the last box disappears in...
At the end of the line, the factory becomes quiet again. The finished frozen meals are stacked, counted, and moved into cold storage. What began as rice, vegetables, chicken, sauce, water, heat, and steel has become a ready meal that can travel far from the factory. Every tray carries the same process inside it: washing, cutting, cooking, cooling, freezing, sealing, packing. The final product looks simple on a store shelf, but behind that small tray is a long chain of exact steps. And when the last box disappears into the cold room, the factory line is already starting again with the next batch.